as I learned to tell my story, I realized that there was one person that played a pivotal role in my life that I never realized before. And I told you guys at that event the other night that I would go early to school every day and practice. Well, there was a janitor named Larry, and Larry was an older gentleman, and he'd been at the school a long time, and he wasn't treated very well by kids at the school because he was the janitor, and for some reason people don't always respect that. But Larry would open up the gym for me every day. So in order for me to get my swings in, which was shooting and dribbling, it was because Larry. And Larry got to open up the doors for me to go and do all these cool things that, that aren't typical to people from where I'm from and I grew up. And I got to have an amazing experience of going back to my high school to speak when I first started this, and Larry was still at the school.
He was.
And so I got to orchestrate this thing where he didn't know that I was going to be there, and I honestly didn't know if he would even remember me, because I would thank him, like, thanks, man, but it was just like, I didn't think I was anyone that he'd remember, and so I got to do this speech, and it was one of my first ones, and it wasn't that great. It was okay, but I was honest, and vulnerable and that kind of thing. But I got to have Larry, I got to call him out in front of everyone. All these cool things have happened in my life, but none of it would have happened if it wasn't for one person, one adult, taking an interest in me, giving me a little bit of time and going out of their way to radically change the course of my life. And I remember he came up on stage, and it was a very emotional moment. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he goes, "I remember those days, Jesse. Those were good times." And it was just like, it just ripped out my heart. I have some pictures from the experience.
That's so cool.
But when you were telling your story, and the takeaway from that for me is, like, you never know how one small thing can impact someone, whether it's just a simple conversation, a phone call, an email, taking an interest in the cashier at your restaurant or whatever. Like, you never know. And that's something, like, I'm very outgoing and like to talk to people, but sometimes I don't want to talk to anyone because I have to be on all the time in the cameras and the people and the kids. And sometimes you just, like, it sounds like those walls that you had up when you're on this elevated status and you're on the private jets and doing these things where it's like people want to use you and they're coming after your money. And so you're always you become kind of leery of these different situations. But, like, if you can just be a sincere, caring person, you never know, like, the difference you can make. And so it's so exciting to me to see these cool things that you're doing now with your foundation, with your speaking, with your passion, and all the impact that you're going to have on people all over the world with what you're doing. But it can be so simple for anyone watching. It's just starting with one person that you see at Subway or that kind of thing.
That's it.